else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Oh my God. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Hey. Nothing else. Yeah. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want. Just want to see you caught up in this whole moment, and I want to stay right here. Oh, I'm not here, say, I'm not here for this. Oh no, yeah. Jesus, you don't. You gave it all already. Woo. More than anything that you tonight. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When I've gone right, I'm sorry. Sing another song, take me back to where we started. I open up my heart to you. Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. When I've come with my take me back. Open. Just one more time. And I just want. All I want, I just want you. Nothing else. Oh yeah. Nothing else. Nothing else will do. I just want you. Nothing else. Nothing. Nothing else will do.
Good evening, everybody. This is Pastor Marcus, and this is Life Lessons. We are in part 2 of Surviving Mentally. Last week we had counselors, and on this week we have people who are actually in the surviving part of life about with mental illness. And so I want to jump in before we get started. I want to give us our preliminaries and everything. No, this is Surviving Mentally. I'm asking that everybody would share this video. I'm asking you to please share this video. If you share it, hashtag it. We set the standard. So that way our hashtag will go out there. People will know who we are and what we're doing. Also, if you would like to give, we have Cash App. If you want to sow a seed, that Cash App tag is $ the Life Church. But we're going to get started right now with this awesome panel that we have. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask us questions in the comment section. We will see those questions and we will answer those questions for you. This is a place where you can get your questions answered. If you have anything, if something that you can connect with and you need information, we also have information. We also have a page that if you want daily help with mental health, it's called the Enduring with the Enduring Life Center. That's our Facebook page, which will tag at the bottom of the comment section here soon. So I want to just jump in and get started tonight. We'll start with the introduction of our panel. So we'll start with Jay. Jay, introduce yourself. Tell a little bit about your story, and we'll go from there.
Wow. Well, I had a little first, but anyways, I'm Jay. For those who don't know me, I deal with depression, anxiety, and PTSD, stemming from an accident that I had 2 years ago today. The depression kind of been dealing with pretty much for about 7 years now, because it started with postpartum and it kind of progressed from there. It's just me, and so I kind of like do this daily. It's a daily journey, so that's what I deal with.
Okay. Go moving on to my boy, Dwayne Davis. Would you please introduce yourself, man, and tell us a little bit about you?
It's Dwayne Davis, formerly known as D Davis. Came up in the music industry as well. Was a CHH artist as well. You know, if that's what you want to label it. Just made art. But my entire professional career, I've worked in military, law enforcement, corrections, security. I'm currently actually the assistant facility director for a correctional facility. So that is stress of out the wazoo. But man, it's just been a crazy journey, that by God's grace, man, I've been able to survive.
Okay. We'll move on down to Ashley. Ashley, introduce yourself to the people.
Hey y'all, I'm Ashley Shante. I'm an actress, I'm an image consultant, and I'm a vision strategist, and I am an overcomer. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I'm excited. And this is one of the coldest people I know with words. Tiffany, if you would please introduce yourself.
Hey everybody. So my name is Tiffany Scales and I'm known as the Wordmatician. I'm an extemper. That is my God-given gift and I love giving it. And I also battled with depression, anxiety, emotional distress, and PTSD for being harassed at work last year. And so being invited to this conversation was a reminder of being an overcomer like Ashley and being among people that I'm familiar with doing God's work. I'm grateful to be here.
Okay. And last but not least, I want Rich Love Society to introduce herself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rich Love Society. To be as brief as possible, I'm a radio show host, activist, Christian hip hop artist, national magazine author, inspirational speaker. I guess a little bit about my story. I was human trafficked. I sold my body on the floor of a gas station parking lot for $100 when I was 16 years old. After everything that I've gone through with being sex trafficked, kidnapped, being homeless, sleeping under 59 in Hillcroft, I was a total monster. I was a drug dealer. I was self-medicating with crack cocaine, shooting up meth, Xanax, X-pills, anything you could think of. I was diagnosed with agoraphobia, where I was afraid to leave my house for many years, claustrophobia, trichomania, depression, bipolar, bulimia, addiction. For 6 years, I couldn't ride in an elevator. I didn't fly for 6 years until a few years ago. I went to Corpus Christi, Austin, Los Angeles, Miami, Atlanta, the list goes on. And that's by the glory of God.
Yes.
And I remember times that I felt like, how am I going to leave my house? How am I going to move on? Who's going to love me? Like the shame that goes along with the trauma that we all face as being human beings. So I'm just thankful to be here. I'm thankful to everyone that's here that's willing to share their story, knowing that it's going to help so many other people. And I just know God is good.
Okay. Now that was a word that has been that was thrown out there, and I want to put everybody that tag on everybody. That's overcomer. That's overcomer. That's because that's why we're here. It's because each of you guys are overcomers. I applaud you here on the show for being that overcomer. And with you being an overcomer, I pray that tonight some other people can label themselves as overcomers. And so we're going to jump right in. I have a couple questions for you guys, and feel free to answer these questions. There's no order. Whoever hears the answer or want to answer, jump in, and we'll just go from there. First question is, when did you realize that you needed help?
I go first. I actually didn't realize that. The thing was, I was kind of going through life, just doing my own thing, and after my daughter died, I was forced to go to counseling. And then when I was forced to go to counseling, then I was forced to unveil all of those things that I needed to that I had dealt with over the years. So I was kind of forced into healing.
Okay.
I would say for me was my senior year in high school. I went to one of my teachers and I told them, hey, I'm having suicidal thoughts. So, and I want to speak to a counselor. I went to the counselor. Although I went to the counselor, this is something that I tell people, that you have to want the help. So although I went to a counselor, I still attempted suicide. And so until I really wanted the help and not just doing it just so I can do a quick diagnosis, a quick fix or anything, that's when I started to see the change. But a senior year of high school was when I made that first thought that, you know what, maybe I need to go talk to someone. Maybe I need to get the help outside of the house.
Okay.
I would say, and Marcus, you know this firsthand, 9 years old for me. 9 years old is when something in my mind just kind of was like, something ain't right. At the time I was dealing with the man that I considered to be my father and my mom splitting up, and I had a little sister in the house and I had my mom's in the house. And there was times where I would have to kick in my mama's door, cry her to sleep, go to my little sister's room, cry her to sleep. And then I'm stuck out, with nobody there for me. And that's what Marcus actually came in during that time and just really took me under the wing. And that became my way of expressing during that time. And that allowed me to really connect with myself and my music. So my music became my therapy and writing became my therapy.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that because I need you to put some more hits out, bro. You need to keep doing that music.
I'm retired.
Anybody else
want to? I'll answer the question. So October 2018, I was preparing to release my album, and I was at an open mic here in Houston, and I got to the point where I was really in the piece, and I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I cannot keep just letting words come out my mouth and die in these four walls. And so that album release was really pivotal because I knew that it was coming when I was going to get off that stage and stop calling it a performance. This past October, I realized I needed some help because last April 24th last year, I said I wasn't going to perform anymore. April 25th last year, I started being harassed. I literally cut myself off from the ways in which I was able to express myself like Dwayne, and art is the only thing that saved my life. And so I felt like, clearly if I'm not performing, then I need something. So I started going to see a psychiatrist, and I was diagnosed with PTSD, emotional distress, and all these other things just from the 8 months I had spent silent, going to the same place every day, spending the third of my day in front of these people who were treating me like that. So yeah, it didn't take too long to understand I needed some help because I didn't have the tools that I needed.
Okay.
I would even say, man, even further since I no longer, I haven't made music in years, at least 3-4 years, but I poured so much into my work, being a great and that industry being so crazy alone. Honestly, I've even in the past year, I've had to get to the point of, you know what, I need that, I need that therapy. So I've actually tapped into finding a black therapist out here in Colorado. Because it's like if I'm not doing music, I'm not passionate about doing that anymore. I still need to express those feelings and those thoughts and get that out somehow before it drives me crazy. Yeah, that's definitely the key.
Okay. Rich Love, you want to share with us on this question?
My answer is gonna sound real strange because
it's all good.
In and out of mental hospitals, jail, all of the above. Being on the run, going missing, like a lot of things have happened, and I dealt with so much of it growing up, but I was in the mindset of survival, so I didn't feel what was happening. I didn't realize, when I was 16, I tried to commit suicide. I saw what it did to my mother, and I said I would never try and take my life. But what I was doing was indirect suicide, getting in the cars with people, practically overdosing, and so it got to the point where I knew something was going on, but I was so high, I didn't feel much of anything. I don't think I really took the time to realize and just stop and feel what I had gone through until I lost my mom January of this year. It was so unexpected. She's my best friend. She's been everything to me. Healthy, 60-year-old, beautiful woman, and she passed. So I went to quarantine in Louisiana. I don't have my mom to call every day. I'm by myself out there, just me and my husband, and I felt everything. I've had a black therapist, she's the bomb. I've been with her for over a decade. I went from going in her office as a stripper, drug seeking, to now where I don't take anything, like just the grace of God, being and everything. And so I think losing my mom is when I really realized some of the traumas and things that I hadn't dealt with, some of the PTSD. But I just continue to hold on to God and my strength and my faith in the Word. But that's pretty much. I don't, I never had time to be like, oh, you're kind of messed up. I knew something was going on. But I don't think I really accepted it and just said, thank God I'm still here until this year, honestly.
Okay. Now you did a term. I'm getting off script just a little bit because I heard a term come from you, indirect suicide. This is a question. How common is that, indirect suicide?
Very
common.
Very.
We do it every day.
I'll speak just for me, and I know Rich Love, you brought it up, so I'll let you go in on it. But for me, indirectly and without realizing it, I threw myself so far into work and being a strong person and having this image and everything else, where I didn't realize I was losing myself and killing myself literally. Even in my marriage and everything, man. Like I remember there was a time I went to a doctor and my doctor was like, straight up, dude, you need to cut the stress because you about to die. Like, straight up, you need to cut the stress. And I didn't realize it. It was work, it was marriage, everything else that was getting me, that I was just like, you know what, I'm going to ignore the pain that I've been going through in life, and I'm just going to focus on me being strong all the time. And it was making me lose myself. I was literally killing myself, and it took me to get my divorce and take that time, really just kind of sit back and just like, yo, you got some things within yourself that you need to keep going on and working on and be happy and peaceful within yourself first. And then you can get back out here in the world and really be effective.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because I heard that. And we actually have a question that says, what is indirect suicide? Inga Johnson asking that question.
For me,
it can look like different things. Go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead, Jay. Or who said, was that Ashley?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Indirect suicide is kind of like you kind of going and you're doing stuff without a thought. You're doing stuff like without thinking about your health. Like for me, it was days without eating. Not because I wasn't hungry, because I was in my mental block, and it was days without eating or days without even drinking water. Something as simple as drinking water. Then that comes to dehydration. That comes so much with that. Which is probably one of the leading things to stress. to cancer. Stress is the leading thing to cancer. So you're literally internally having your body eat you inside out. So if you're not, that's what you're doing indirectly. Your emotions and everything that you're carrying is eating you inside out, which is now you're killing yourself, because now I can't even go walk to the corner without breathing heavy, and I don't know why. But because I went days without eating, or for some people it's days overeating, or days I'm just eating because it's a comfort thing. And now I'm full, and I didn't gain 200 pounds or 100 pounds, and I don't know what I'm gonna do, because now I can't even go outside and walk to the corner. And now that you have heart condition, you have so much that comes with the indirect suicide.
Okay, Ashley, you get ready to say something?
Yeah, I was saying that it looks like it's different for everyone. So like she said, the eating, there's also sex is a form of indirect suicide, when you're constantly just giving your body over to people, especially unprotected. You don't know, there's like different diseases, there's drugs, like there are so many ways that's considered indirect suicide. So depending on the state and depending on how you're trying to cope with life, that's when it comes about. So it's not like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna go take a gun to my head. You're trying to numb the pain, and while you're numbing the pain, you're also just killing yourself, and you don't know it.
And that's what I heard.
Relief for long-term grief. Yes.
I think mine was a little bit more literal. And it just came to me one day because I had so much self-hatred. I felt worthless. I felt dirty. I felt alone. As far as even being bulimic, that's something that a family member taught me when I was 10 years old. I don't think that they realized what they were teaching me. But when you already have this hatred and just this control issue inside, there would be days where I would 10 times a day, just constantly just wanting to have control of everything. Or when I took 10 X pills in one night, and one X pill could get someone intoxicated. And I looked in the mirror, sweaty, pupils dilated, heart beating out of my chest, and I realized, like, you're gonna die. But I wasn't high. I was trying to chase this high that I would never get. I was gang raped. I left a club with a whole bunch of guys, got gang raped, and just had this, I felt shame. I felt like I brought that on myself. So after, like I said, attempting suicide, I just knew I wasn't going to do it where it was like she said, gun to my head. But everything else I was doing was like, I wanted to die.
Right.
And then to top it off, are some people that are just not the best. And I've forgiven everything. But after they gang raped me, they dropped me off at a bus stop. Like I was just trash. So there's so many things that our women, our youth, our girls, even our boys deal with. And it really takes the energy to just say, why am I doing that? I don't think people stop and think, why do I feel the way that I feel? And so that's a powerful thing. And that's what indirect suicide was for me.
Okay. So the word, what I'm looking at is more so is with the numbing. It's like that when you just numb and you just, in a way, not even realizing that you're doing it, but you're doing it.
Right.
Okay.
When you become numb, you don't. It's because people around you, and people around you, and everybody's moving around you. But because, like I said, because of the internal battle or the mental battle that you're going through, you don't like. It's like, I see y'all and I know y'all love me, but what I'm feeling, like for me, I lost my daughter, right? I lost one of my kids. So here I am. I still have the mother, and I lost my oldest baby, my firstborn. So how do it took my sister one day. She was like, you just don't care what happens to the other two. And I'm like, it's not that I don't care. It's that I wish that I could switch. I wish that me could switch places with my child. Like, I don't think that. So I'm indirectly, I'm like, I'm not like here. Like, I'm here, but I'm not here. And I still have moments to this day. Actually, I had my last moment in May where I checked out. And sometimes you check out. I mean, it's daily. Like, sometimes you check out because I have to be mama and I have to go through, right? So it's a checkout thing. So I guess the thing of it is you don't, when you numb, it's like I see y'all and I know that, but what I feel on the inside is troubling. Like I can't explain to you what my numbness is. Like I can just kind of explain what my triggers are, but I can't explain what the numbness is. It's like nothing. It's empty. Like it's literally an empty space. It's nothing that could, like it's nothing.
Right.
It's nothing.
Right.
Man,
Go
that
do
numbness,
whatever happens. Y'all can come you can come punch me in my face, and I probably won't feel it because I'm numb to everything at this point.
that numbness for me, man, and at my lowest point, it was literally like an outer body experience. Like all day, every day, I'm walking around and like my body is just on autopilot, but my spirit, man, and everything else is just like floating above, just looking down, like, ooh, snap out of it. But like you have no control over it. You know, like it was literally, I would go to work some days and my boss was like, dude, something is not right with you. Like you got to snap out of it, you know, and that's dangerous and courageous. You got to always be aware, you know, and it also becomes a high. It also
Right.
becomes high. Like you get so high off of that point of being numb and that feeling of the outer body to where you're just like, I don't even want to go back. So you just stay in it so much.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because that was, I heard that term and I was like, okay, that's new. But that's great explanations. And to be amazed to think you telling your story, you'd be amazed at how many people are saying, you know what, I'm dealing with that right now. You know. So here's a question, and I saw the question pop up. It was directed to Ashley, but I'm gonna direct it to everyone. What did you do to become an overcomer?
For me, there was multiple things. Because with me, I was dealing with things where I lost my passion. Like I said, I'm an actress. So since I was a little girl, I have always been that performer. I always found myself writing stories, writing songs, all of this stuff. So growing up, I lost that passion. So for that, I had to surround myself with people who were in places where I wanted to be. They had that mindset. They carried themselves a certain way. So I had to surround myself with that. Also, suffering with body image. Always wanted to be thicker, just because it was as if I was competing for love. So if I was like, okay, well, these guys like these type of women, so let me try and do this, where I became sick. So for that, I had to speak life into myself. So I had to start doing affirmations daily. And I had to say it even when I didn't believe it. I had to say it until my spirit began to believe it. And from there, then like my mindset changed, the way I walk changed, the way I talk changed. So being able to speak life into myself and then connect with other people who are in that position where I want to be, who also can speak life into me. So it's like this double whammy going on, where even if I miss a day where I can't speak into myself, then these people are right there also saying, hey, you're talented, hey, you're beautiful. So just surrounding yourself with positivity is how I overcame and how I still overcome.
Okay. Anybody else want to tackle that?
I say, man, for me, again, it's I had a lot of different ways, man, throughout life. So from 8 years old to about 25, it was writing, it was my music. You know, I would literally every show, I'm leaving it all on the stage, coming out dripping in sweat, crying on stage, whatever. Like that was literally my expression of I'm getting everything out, you know, in those moments, you know, because of course I wanted to be able to help somebody, but at the same time, I'm screaming for help, you know, at the same time. And then after 25, it became, I learned to kind of adjust, you know, where I have to speak into myself on a constant, you know, if I feel stuff coming on, it's, hold up, you a king, bro. Nah, we ain't doing that. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that on a daily basis. Wake up, take 5-10 minutes to meditate, you know, sit in my car, you know, and just rock out to some Lil Jon or something every once in a while, like, you know, try and get into yoga or whatever the case may be, go take a walk. Like it's stuff that I do on a constant basis that I have to constantly remind myself, you're worth it. You're better than this.
Okay. So I have another question. We'll jump into another question. When we talk about being an overcomer, that is a daily fight. Am I right?
Yes.
Right.
I mean, I'm overcoming every day. What are some of the things you do daily that keeps you on track? And because I know some days may be tougher than others, but what are some of the things that you do? I know, Ashley, you say you do affirmations. You surround yourself with positivity. But what about those moments when it's just, because I can't say that I've suffered or I've been diagnosed, but I've had moments in my life where I couldn't see. Right. People would tell you, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You hear that, and I was at a place where, bro, I don't even see the tunnel. I just see a wall. I don't. All of that. And I'm a preacher, pastor, and people trying to give me scripture, and I know that stuff, but that's not helping me. So, what other than that? What do you do in those moments, daily, that keeps you every day? I'm an overcomer. I'm an overcomer today. I'm an overcomer the next day. So, what is it that you do?
For me, I learn something new all the time. For me, I have to talk it out. I'm not the person that can write it out. Everybody say, well, write it out on a piece of paper. I'm not that person. I have to hear myself say it out loud, so I know that is what I'm hearing is not okay. So I have to talk it out. That's what. So, and then I've also picked up on walking, getting outside, getting some fresh air. I love water, and so going somewhere where water is soothes me. Whether it's Dewson Park, whether it's we have a little water thing by our house, it soothes me. So and talking it out, like I need to say what I'm feeling out loud, so that when I hear it, it'll feed back into me. Like, oh, that's not okay. So we know that's how you feel. Now you gotta change that. Okay. You gotta redirect that. That's how you feeling, but that's not. You gotta redirect that, and so that comes with having people around me who can listen. Not only, and they can listen, and I can feel comfortable with them listening to me without trying to give me the regular scripture. I don't want to at that moment. I don't want to hear the regular scripture. Don't tell me thus saith the Lord, because I know the Lord and I know what He said, and I can read the Bible just like you read the Bible. So for me, I have to hear it, and so when I hear it. And I have people around to just listen to me, which is why I go to counseling. Like, I go to counseling. I'm an advocate for counseling. Like, that was the best thing that happened to me. Along with my wonderful pastor who helps me through it. I'll just call him just so I can hear myself say it, so I can walk through it.
Man, for me, this is gonna sound so simple. Breathe. Breathe.
I don't hear. Yes.
Literally breathe. Like in those moments, I mean, I get it daily at work. I get it daily, man. So I literally have to sit in my office and just close my door, tell my staff, don't bother me for the next 10, 15 minutes, whatever it may be, and breathe. I'll put on some yoga music, some meditation music, or some jazz, and just sit at my desk and breathe. Ignore all emails, calls, whatever it may be, and breathe. And during that time I'm slowing my heart rate, yes, and getting my body back right, but it's also for my mental side to be able to tap back into me spiritually. For my spirit man to wake up again and like, hey, nah, bruh, my flesh is not stronger than my spirit man. You know what I'm saying? So my spirit man is gonna overcome that and like, hey, we good, we back on track, let's get back to work.
I'm glad you said that, and Tiffany jumped on just in time, because that's actually something she put in our group message, was about breathing and how it aligns you with the Holy Spirit. So to hear you say that and know that's what she put in this thing, that was amazing. You came in just in time. He was saying that when you came back. And so when I read that, I love that. And so look like we have another question here, guys. Let's pull this question up. It's Andrea Hubert, I'm sorry. She says, I need help to detach from a toxic relationship that is full of mental abuse. It's called a trauma bond. Does anyone know what it is? Come on, Tiffany.
Okay, so can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I also am a life coach, and I specialize in helping couples with intimacy, communication, and emotion translation. And a lot of times the toxicity that you feel like you're attracting is more so the things that you're acknowledging because they haven't been dealt with. And so being able to, see it allows you to call it out. And if you are a believer, then that's what you pray about. You thank God for showing you
Come on.
how toxic it is to him. And once you unclench your fist, you're now open to receive all the things that he has for you. So if it's nothing else than to allow yourself to detach from the promises or the commitments. A lot of people refer to those as soul ties. Anytime that you've been in a relationship with someone and you've promised them yourself, your body, your life, you have to cut that. If your relationship has ended, you give it right back to God, and then you allow that to process you to a point that you progress through it without worrying about missing them or feeling broken in the process.
And I want to add to that, and I see stuff totally different, in a different way. And when she said that you have to cut that tie, it's similar to riding a horse. Once you jump on that horse in the beginning of the journey, you and that horse have a relationship. But if you fall off and the horse is dragging you, the only way that you can save yourself is to cut what keeps you and the horse tied together. You cannot concern yourself with losing the horse. You have to concern yourself with living. And so when that is a life-saving move, you have to cut it. You have to cut it. They will cut a limb off of your body to save the rest of your body. But we seem to struggle with cutting people off to save our lives. Yeah. And I believe hands and feet and arms and fingers and all of that stuff is way more important to my body and to my well-being than an actual person. And so that's what we really have to get to a place. First of all, don't believe what's being said. I preach all the time that if something is said and it's contrary to what God says, you reverse it by saying what God says. If they say something, you say what God says, and that reverses the curse, and you believe that, and that is going to help you get past that and make it easy for you to cut that off. And so that's one thing that I just wanted to add to that. But if anybody else want to add to that question,
man, I just my little. You got to make peace with it. You got to make peace with that decision. You got to make peace within yourself. That's the key thing, man. Of knowing yourself enough and knowing your worth enough to know that I am not deserving of this. I am at peace with my decision. I am at peace with whatever happens. Whatever the outcome is, I'm okay. And I will rebuild and I will continue to be stronger, and I'll move on. Like, that's the thing. Peace, joy, and that energy from within is the key to any of it.
Okay. We have another question. It says, but what happens when you are doing daily? What you are doing daily is no longer working for you? Come on, Jay.
You have to keep transitioning, because eventually your body gets immune to it. So like I was saying, one day at first, sometimes I can talk it out. Some days I can go ride my bike and I'll be okay. Some days I have to run. This week was a running week. I had to literally run 4 miles just to clear my head of everything that was heavy on me. So it's the continuance of trying to find out what works for me. Well, for me at least. So it's the continuance of trying to find things and continuance of doing things that, okay, so this is gonna work for this week, but next week I probably just gotta go and go and get by myself and just allow and listen to meditation music. Excuse me, y'all. So it's a continuance of finding out what works for you, and everybody's different. Everybody's different. So what works for me might not work for you. Everybody's different, and everybody go through differently.
Okay.
I would say, because there are days when I look at my affirmation and I'm like, I'm not saying this stuff, none of this stuff. I don't believe any of this stuff and all that time. So there are times when I do have to turn on my rain and thunder sounds. Last night was perfect. I didn't have to turn on nothing. But where I just have to listen to that, or I have to read, or I have to write, or sometimes I just have to have my day where I don't want nobody talking to me. Let me just be me. Let me process how I need to process. So like she said, that it depends on the day. It depends on what you need at that time, because you're a human. So you're faceted in many ways. And when you realize that there are many different elements to you, then you will be able to access each part of that.
Okay.
I have something to say about that. I could say I began using drugs when I was 12, and I didn't stop till I was 23. So that was a lot of years of what worked for me was drugs. Period. I had a nervous breakdown, and what I began to do was pray. You know, every day whenever I'd go home, I was scared to go home, so I would go to church. Any kind of session that they had, I would be in church because that's all that at least me, that's what I was raised is go to the word, go to the word. But then it got to the point where the enemy started making me believe that I was having these panic attacks because I was reading the Bible. So I would literally be holding the word, trying to read different books. I tried to read Joyce Meyer's Battlefield of the Mind. I would be shaking in sweats trying to pray. So when I say that the enemy is like after you every step of the way, but our God is so much bigger than anything that he has in his bag. So I've had a metamorphosis from everything you could think of. If you have to check out and put your phone down, get off social media, don't talk to that friend, because some people are energy suckers. You may talk to somebody, and when you get off the phone with them, you be like, man, why did I talk to them? All they did was tell me all their problems. Who's there for me? So that's another thing. You got to check your own self about the people you have around you. Counseling, A1. Find a good counselor. If you talk to someone and you just ain't feeling it, find another one, because I've seen at least 20 therapists throughout all my years, and I have one, and she is cold. She is bad. Okay, and that's by the grace of God. There's somebody out there for everyone. Music, I said the thunder sounds. Sometimes I don't want to be in my head, so I put on something real low just so that I can have something going through my mind instead of just being in my thoughts. When I'm in the shower, sometimes I don't want to be in my thoughts. Jay said the water. I go sit by the ocean. You know, that stuff does help. And I think a big thing that made me start to use drugs was I was having like prophesized different things that would come true. And I was so afraid as a little kid, dreaming things that would happen. And a lot of times in the African American community, you don't talk about depression. You don't talk about things like that because, you know, is there something wrong with me? You know, am I, you know, the devil? Like, what's wrong with me? So that was something that internally I had to realize why the enemy was fighting me. He is fighting everyone on this call. He don't want you to get to what God has for you. He was in heaven. He knows what's waiting for us. So I think anything that you need to do, one thing that I kept doing whenever I would go to church, I kept saying like, I'm depressed. You know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm always going to be crazy. And they told me, you know what? You need to open up your Bible and go to Proverbs 18:21. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. The words that you say, what's coming out of you, the words that's coming out of your mouth, your subconscious mind hears that and you start to live out that for your own life. So I think that that's a huge thing. And every morning you get up, say a quick prayer. If you have the energy, if you can do that, and you just say like, which bag am I going to pull from today? Am I going to pull from the bag that's tearing me down, or the one that's saying, you know, I am a child of God. I am a survivor. I will get through this. That's what I do.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
What she was saying about, what she was saying about how it's in the community that we don't think we're crazy. So for me, and I'm big on this because when you're pregnant, whatever you feeling, it goes to your baby. I was born in grief, right? I was conceived in grief, right? Okay. My mama was grieving when I was conceived, right? So that then became a thing of my life. So when people would die, I didn't know how to grieve, right? I didn't grieve. So I had to grieve in a womb by myself. So for me, I'll shut down when it's time to grieve. Mm-hmm. So here I am in 2018 when it's my I lost my kid, and everybody wondering why you keep moving, because I've been since the womb, I've been grieving by myself. You understand myself? When my grandmother died, my mom, she was going through her thing, so she tried to grieve away from me. So I was taught to grieve in isolation. So until I learned how to find different ways, which is now, and that's just in the last 2 years that I've learned to find different ways. I had to, it was a growing thing though. Like, and I always, my prayer is always, Lord, today when I wake up, I don't operate off my own strength. I operate off of God's strength every day, period. It's no day that I can wake up and operate off of my own strength at all. No day. because it can be one moment and I can be triggered. So I always pray the prayer of, Lord, give me your strength. Like, allow your strength to resonate on me today, tomorrow, yesterday, whenever. Like, I need your strength. So for me, it was just like, it's a thing though. I always grieved by myself in isolation, and it was horrible. It was horrible. It was a hard experience because I don't think people are supposed to cry. I'm that person. Like, I don't think you're not supposed to cry in front of people. That was me. Now I know that it's okay to cry in front of people. Not everybody not entitled to my crying. Everybody ain't gonna see me ugly cry. And I love y'all, a lot of people, but y'all ain't gonna see me ugly cry.
I just wanted to say for the lady that asked the question, there's a thin line between perseverance and insanity. The definitions are so close. And when you are teetering on that line, you need to know the difference between a question and a statement. Those thoughts that are just rattling off in your mind, if they're just as, plummeting you into a rabbit hole of questions like doubt and wonder, disregard that. You need to take a deep breath in, slowly exhale, and acknowledge what you know. And that's how you decide what to breathe into and what to hold your breath for. But I really appreciate Jay, you being so vulnerable, because a lot of times people are so quick to only do what they've seen and not be able to see past the view. And so it's beautiful how, everybody has come to a place of understanding, like, there's such a beautiful perspective, but the image is more so the prism, right? Because you have to see every angle to understand what you're looking at. And then we don't always get that opportunity.
Sorry, my new caption, perseverance. That persevering line, that's my new caption.
Yeah, that was hot.
Can you put that in the comments?
I'm putting that. There's a thin line between perseverance and insanity. Yes. But listening to everything and hearing everything, there are two parts of the Bible. First of all, what you have to understand is the devil is always going to make you question what God has said. He did it in the very beginning when he asked Eve, if you eat this apple, will you surely die? Which then made her question the commands of God. So now she's in a place where she has to make a decision that's a matter of life and death. And then I think of Matthew 7:7, where it says, ask and it shall be given, seeking ye shall find, knock and the door shall be open. Here's the thing. There's no one way to do that. You have to seek. And when you seek and you keep going and it's not working, you have to find another way to seek. When you seek, you're doing whatever it takes to get to where you're trying to go. And so that's one thing you have to remember. When it's not working, if it didn't work, you have to find another way. Keep going. Things that are important to us, we tend to find a way. We find a way. If you want to get out, you will find a way. If you live in Houston, Texas, and if you get lost, you will find a way. You will pull over, you'll ask, you'll find you will find a way. And just like we'll navigate through the roads of this city, that's the way you have to navigate through the roads of your life. You have to keep seeking. Seek.
Now, Pastor you said something about if you can get out, but if anybody is in a relationship and you don't feel safe to just walk away, you can go on Facebook and ask for CMOS. There's certain groups that will tell you like code words you can give if you don't get out. We still have like a underground railroad on the social media sites that you can say something if you need something.
And I would suggest that you all become friends with each person on here, so that way you'll be connected with that kind of stuff. If there's a relationship or anything like that, real quick, you can inbox Pastor Marcus and you'll be real safe. I got a little bit of I get, I pray, but I fight too. Praise God. But that's what you need to know, is that you have to continue to seek. And I want to tag off of Rich Love Society, what she was saying about the church. And here's a question that I want to ask. How many of you actually went to the altar about what you were dealing with? And how many of you can say it worked when you did it?
Ooh.
Come on.
I was visiting Loving Word Fellowship Church with Pastor Paul D. Landrew, and he was doing this 7-day praying fast.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this huge cross at the altar, and they had us write down things that we wanted to do and things that we wanted to be forgiven for on little sticky notes, and we nailed them to the cross. And it was just so immediate. I mean, like, it shelled out within a matter of weeks. I wrote 5 books. or I wrote and helped publish 5 books, and like just all these opportunities, everything that I had asked to be released from, I got released from. There's no ties. It was immediate.
That's wonderful. Who else?
I think. Go ahead.
My bad. I'll say, you know what? There were times where I definitely would pray about it, go to God on it, you know, and I would get released from it. But then there was other times God would speak. It's like, nah, I ain't releasing you from this because I'm growing you.
Yeah.
It's that thorn.
You to grow right now. So you need to go through this hell right now in order for you to get to that next place that I'm trying to take you.
Yeah.
So I kind of learn and accept that and become at peace with that decision. All right, God, this is what you're gonna do. It's gonna be hurtful, it's gonna be painful for me. But you know what? Let's get it. Because I know what you're trying to take me to. Let's get it.
I think for me, I think a lot of times, at least when I was in the worst of my life, I didn't really pray, to be honest. I knew God, I knew he was there, but he was like some unattainable being to me. That was the furthest thing from my mind. So I believe what made the difference for me was the prayers of my grandmother, the prayers of my mom, my mom went to the altar when I was missing and prayed for my safe return. Like, I literally woke up October 2011 from a $200 a day crack and meth addiction, completely clean. No alcohol, no drugs, no cigarettes, no caffeine, like nothing. If you want to try and say that miracles aren't real, like you have to come to me with that. That's just not what we're gonna do. So I think that God comes to us in his own way, in his own timing, and a lot of times you're not gonna see it. But God knows why he's allowing certain things to happen. And now that we're walking in our purpose, I'm sure a lot of us can say that's why.
Yeah. Come on, Jay.
So I'm not gonna lie, I'm not going to the altar. I'm not going to the altar simply because here's the thing. I have this thing about the altar, and it's a phobia about the altar. Like, what I'm going to them for, because they ain't got the answers, right? I've been in church 30 years. I'm 30 years old. I've seen people go to the altar and come off the altar the same way they went. So my thing was, I'm not going to the altar for my problems because y'all can't help me. That's how I felt. Now I know different. I'm grown in the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
But I do. So for me, it was go to the. I was very leery about going to the people. So is God gonna say, okay, well, I'm gonna sit you by yourself? He now isolated me. Well, it's only me and him, so he can deal with me. So I didn't go to the altar, but he did take me through isolation where I had to deal with him. And COVID-19 was a part of my isolation. Because guess what? Like you were saying earlier, I can't run a church. I'm a person who goes to church every time the church open. That's me. I can't run a church. I can't be at the events. So now you got to deal. Now I got to deal with just God with my issues. So I'm not going to the altar because I always and I feel bad for this now that I'm growing spiritually. I think people who go to the altar for attention. That's my mental thought. So I'm need your attention. I want some help. I don't want your attention. So growing, like I said, I'm growing spiritually to know that people really go to the altar for help.
Yeah. And I believe that question went a whole nother direction because all of y'all have good testimony. And this is one thing that I do say as a pastor. A lot of things that we try to rebuke needs to be diagnosed. And if and it's not saying that God does not have the power to remove it, but everybody's story is not the miracle at the altar. I shared this before, that you have the story of the person who went to the doctor with cancer, went back to the doctor and the cancer was not found. But then you have the story of the person that had cancer and went through chemo and they're healed from cancer. Same miracle, 2 different processes. And so I believe that God gives us counselors. He gives us people who are professionals in this area to help people get to where they need to go. And so I'm the type of pastor, I'm gonna give you as much as I can spiritually. I'm gonna tell you as much as I can about life. But when I get to a point where I can't tell you anything else, I will direct you to a professional because it's just called the gap bridge.
Yeah, you got to bridge the gap between God, art, and psychiatry.
Right. And I can only give you so much. And so and so I love and the thing is I was pushing towards, I don't want people to lose faith in the church because here's the truth. We don't talk about this. We call it the enemy, we call it the devil, and we say we praying for you. while those people are struggling, those people are dying, those people are in a state of involuntary suicide. That word is going to stick with me forever. And this is something that I believe that we need to do regularly, is to check on people. Because truth is, we go to church and say, I'm fine. Come on.
No, but think about it. Okay, so the old folks and the more seasoned saints, they'll say, oh, that's the devil, we praying for you. But are they not calling that tangible thing suffocating us, something that's already been defeated, so we can then change our perspective and become the strength and not the weak?
Right. That's the problem. That's what I feel that we usually have the disconnect. And I praise God that each one of you are connected to spiritual people that can lead you to that place. Y'all don't know how happy I am to hear that, because that is one of my biggest concerns, is that we lose our effectiveness as the change agent of the world because we're not doing what's necessary for change. And so we are really getting close to our hour, y'all. I hate this part because people start, foot pushing and pushing. So what I want to do, I want each of you to give us a closing statement of encouragement to the audience, and we'll close it out like that. So we'll start with Jay, Dwayne, Tiffany, Ashley, and then Rich Loverbeat will close us out.
So my thing is, you're not alone. Somebody's walking through what you're walking through. My story is so much bigger than what it is now, but I didn't understand. If I knew then what I know now, I know that it's a greater purpose. So know that whatever you're going through, whatever you're battling mentally, you can get through it. Like you can become an overcomer. It's not gonna hold you longer, as long as you want the change. So peace, love, and happiness.
All right. D. Davis.
All right, let me get right up on the camera. See who I'm looking at. Right quick. Nah, man. Straight up, it's for me. My closing words would be: love yourself, love God, and love yourself above all else. Know who you are. Tap into that. And really do the groundwork to learn yourself in every way possible, because that is what's going to bring you that true peace, no matter what it is you're facing in life. Knowing yourself and becoming at peace with that is going to elevate you to next levels, man, that you never thought possible. Love yourself and just keep grinding every single day to make yourself a better version of yourself. And know that you are royalty. At the end of the day, I know that's the cliche thing to say, but at the end of the day, man, we are all royalty in God, but we're also royalty, man, in this earth. Know who you are and keep pushing. Love.
So I have 3 things. The first thing, get in front of the mirror, count to 3, take a deep breath in, hold your breath, see yourself, and slowly exhale. Do that for 7 days. And every time you do it, affirm yourself. I don't want anybody to deflect. And then also reprioritize you. Make sure that under God comes you and then everybody else. Because, the stewardess on the plane has always told us the actual order of operation. And if we would have listened along, so we wouldn't be suffocated. You have to put the mask on yourself. You have to tend to you, get yourself full, go to God, get the word, thank him for it, and then give it. And if you don't, you're going to be empty at the end of the day if you even make it that far. So mirror time is your friend.
Okay. Ashley?
I would say, one, know that sometimes you do have a thorn in your side, but his grace is sufficient. That's his promise. So when you realize this, then you will be able to take one step at a time, even if you're praying and stuff. Sometimes he's not going to get rid of things because that is your thorn. And it's okay to have a thorn. It's also okay not to be okay. So you don't have to walk around as this perfect glass all the time. You have cracks, you have all of these different imperfections, and it's okay for that to be, because that's what makes you you. And then I will also say, like everyone else is saying, love yourself. The only way you can love yourself is to know who your creator is, know who God is for you, and actually know what the word says about you, so that you can live it and you can breathe that word, and then you will become whole, you know? So that's what I would say.
Okay. Rich Love Society.
So I have a few things I want to say first. Nothing is a surprise to God. I'm gonna say that again. Nothing is a surprise to God. Like, things don't happen to us, and then God's like, "Oh, man, I didn't see that coming." Like, He knows what's up, He knows what's coming, and He knows why. Second thing I want to say is, happiness is not things. Don't let social media fool you from what you are seeing and what you are feeding your spirit. That is a huge reason why I began doing Christian hip hop, because I could get on stage, I could talk about selling dope, I could talk about being a stripper, money, man, all that stuff. But I know God didn't save me from a life that almost killed me to glorify that life. So check also what you're feeding your spirit with. And I want to say also, for the mental things that everyone faces, it's just different levels and different degrees of what we're facing. The main thing for me has been to stop the momentum. It's like when you're pushing a ball or a big weight up the hill, like, you got to stop it, because once it starts going down, it's really hard to stop it from getting to that place where it's really hard to come back from. And retraining your mind, just like when I used to smoke cigarettes, I get up in the morning, after I ate, after everything, cigarette. I had to figure out what I was going to choose instead of that. And like Jay said, the exercising, the music, whether it's art, there's so many things that you can do to create different habits. And lastly, people always say, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. If I had a nickel, if I had a penny every time somebody told me to believe in myself, you know how many days I wake up and I'm like, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this really my path in life? When I get all them doors shut in my face, it's not about believing in yourself. Like, it's great if you believe in yourself, but if you banking on believing in yourself every single day, you're not going to get to where you need to be. The main thing is just to do it. Do what you know God has for you, and ask for help if you need it. Nobody is perfect. If somebody thinks they're perfect, that right there tells you they're not perfect, because there's not one person walking this earth right now that's perfect. So ask for help if you need it. All of us that are on this chat right now, we're all here for you. Whoever you feel, I know sometimes it's hard to trust people. There's somebody in your life. Just ask for help, because you are never alone.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm going to say one thing before we get off, and that's check your loyalties. Check what you're loyal to, because truth be told, the things that you're loyal to sometimes drive the direction of your life. So for some reason, God dropped Uriah in my spirit this morning, and I posted it. That wisdom should accompany loyalty. The Bible tells us in all things gain wisdom and hear the voice of God. And you look at the life of Uriah. If you don't know who Uriah was Bathsheba's husband. He was faithful to Bathsheba. She was unfaithful. He was faithful to David. He was unfaithful. Even Joab, the commander of the army, was unfaithful. And it caused him to die because he did not have wisdom with his loyalties. And so I ask today that whatever it is that you're loyal to that's bringing you down, whatever it is, whoever it is, wherever it is, if it's bringing you to a place that you know you do not need to be in, you should cut that tie. You should cut that tie, because I'm a firm believer that when we do what we're supposed to do, even when it's tough, we can survive it. We can survive it. And so I pray that everybody on here, if you got on this live today and you said that I'm not an overcomer, it's my prayer that after you hit the next post on Facebook, you're saying I'm an overcomer. And that's my prayer tonight, that the story of overcomers help you now become an overcomer. And so we're going to pray, and then we're going to get off of here, because we reached our hour. Let's pray. Dear God, we come thanking you for tonight, God. I personally thank you for each and every person on this panel, God. I thank you for their journey. I thank you for their lives, God. I thank you for their growth. I thank you for their story. God, right now, I pray that you would bless their lives, that this will be the smallest platform that they will share their story and save lives. God, I ask right now that you will provide what they need, that you will open doors that are need to be open, that they will be able to share what they know. God, we thank you for every person that tuned in, God. We pray for the one who needed to hear the words that were said today. We ask that you would meet them right at their very need, God. Clear up every gap in their life, God. Every question that they have, God. Confirm your word in their heart, that they will be able to live stronger, live better, and live longer. God, we honor you. We thank you, and we give your name all the glory and praise. It is these and many other blessings in your darling son Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Next week we are still surviving mentally. Next week we are going to talk about silent suffering. Actually, it's going to be silent suffering amongst the leaders, but I believe that more than leaders suffer silent. So this is going to be a universal conversation, not just for the leaders, but for everybody. So come back next Thursday, 7:13, right here on Facebook and YouTube. If you are not following the Life Church, I suggest that you follow the Life Church and hit the notification bell so that when we go live, you will not miss it. Also, if you are on YouTube, go to the Life Church Houston on YouTube, and you'll see our logo on there. It's some swoosh and 3 leaves. You'll see it and say the Life Church Houston. Hit that, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you'll get a notification when we go live, and you will not miss Life Lessons. Life Lessons is the place where we're talking about the stuff they don't talk about in church. That's what we're doing here. And so next week, I want you to meet me here for silent suffering. We're going to have our Enduring Life Center counselors back on tomorrow, next week, and we're going to talk about that thing. I love you guys. I wish you all the best. I pray, and I thank each and every one of you all for your story and for being on here and telling your story, and know that this connection is a connection that will not be broken. And so I just want y'all to know that. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. We set the standard everywhere we go. Whew.